Hi, everyone. This is Elena, and you are in a Vibe Jam podcast. Today, my guest is Deb Gallo, a professional learner and builder at heart. She spent 20 plus years in talent development and now works in a global hospitality SaaS company based in the Netherlands. Deborah, welcome to the show.
Hi, Elena. It's so good to be here. I'm excited to chat.
Absolutely. And we are in Vibe Jam podcast chatting about vibe coding. And today, as always, I'm starting with a very simple question. What is vibe coding to you, Deborah?
Gosh, how do I summarize it? Vibe coding it's kind of like superpowers. I think it's a superpower. For a long time, I've always wanted to be able to code and to design and to build, and I couldn't because I just didn't know how. I didn't have enough technical skills. And vibe coding is that bridge between the ideas and what's in your head and the creativity to actually seeing something built. And I love it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's for me like a huge enabler. And yeah, it's better than Netflix, you know?
Yeah.
You enjoy and you have something at the end
Yeah.
that you built yourself and you are proud and you can share. And I know that you built something totally amazing and very different from what I had before in podcast. It's internal tooling. It is not only one tool, not only Lovable or any I would say, okay, simple vibe coding
Yep.
tool. You also used a lot of different tools and you combined everything and you built not only one product, but several. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of things to discuss today. And I can't wait to start with like probably the first question to you, how you came to this idea and what was the trigger?
Yeah, good question. I was on holidays camping in France in the summer, and we were we were just finishing our performance review cycle, and we had a whole bunch of data. And I was thinking, how do I make this data actionable? Like, how I know it's there. It's in a huge Excel file, but I can't do anything with it. And I can't help my colleagues improve the conversations that they're having with leaders. I can't help leaders understand what's happening and what the data means. So I thought, okay, I need to do something. And then I came across Lovable and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this, could help me. And that took me down a rabbit hole of creating and vibing. That it was initially the problem that I was trying to solve is we've got a lot of data, we've got a massive system, Workday, that holds a lot of data, but we can't really do much with it unless we manipulate it. And I needed to find an easy way to do something with it and present it to colleagues and say, hey, look, this is what the data means.
Yeah, amazing. And so you started with Lovable. You
Yes.
came there. I'm like, for the people who just starting, what was your first prompt? Do you remember just
Ooh,
approximately?
that's
Was
like,
it like one phrase or was it like something
oh,
kind of PRD style, very
it's funny
descriptive?
because before I was using Lovable, I was creating some Claude artifacts and using Claude and stuff. And what I learned from that is that I could start with something very vague and it was great, but then I just went into an iteration of 100 versions, a version 152, and I'm like, oh my God, this is this is crazy. So I did learn. I said, okay, let me first organize my thoughts, and I used ChatGPT, and with ChatGPT, I kind of like use it as a coach and say, look, I'm thinking about this. I want to build this. Can you help? Can you ask me questions to really extract my need to help me articulate what I want? And you an interviewer. Interview me, and I'll give you all the information. So then ChatGPT
Mhm.
grabs all that info, and then once it has, I say, okay, can you now help me organize this into an application? And this is what I'm thinking. And can you put that into a format that I can give to Lovable? So that helps me. And then I can just give it a whole bunch of data and information, like in a format that has pretty much everything that I'm thinking in an understandable way and not my kind of like jumble talking, confusing kind of like ideas. So that helps. And so I've learned to structure my initial thoughts first outside of the tool in ChatGPT or Claude, and then come with something structured, and that helps kind of like get things going really quickly.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. This basically define and plan stage you did in LLM and ChatGPT in this case,
Yeah.
and then copying to Lovable and the outcome after the first prompt. Like, was it like, how was the feeling? Was it like almost
Yeah. It's good. I mean, I was impressed. I was like, "Wow." I was like, "Okay, is that okay, that's pretty good." So it exceeded my expectations because I'm like, "Okay, this is better than what I imagined." But then as I start looking at the details, I'm like, "Actually, okay, no, let's tweak this," or actually, "No,
Mhm.
this not quite like this," and I start iterating, which helps me then think, "Gosh, should I have known this from the beginning?" Because what I ended up with now is so different to what I started with. So it was a huge evolution. And I think that's probably one of my weak points is that I just keep building and building and it gets bigger and bigger. And I'm like, oh my God, now I've created a little monster, which I started with something like really small. So there's a balance that you need to find as you build, that it doesn't get out of control and you've built this Frankenstein. That I'm like, oh, okay. But
Mm.
it did help me realize, like, oh, maybe this is what happened with those big, enterprise platforms that you buy and they look like a Frankenstein that have just evolved over time. I'm like, oh, now I understand how big
Yeah.
systems get to this point.
Yeah, get this complex. And speaking about building, so what was your flow of building? So you received this like the outcome of the first prompt,
Yeah.
and then what was your okay, I should go there or there? Like, can you tell a little bit
Yes. So
this?
what I did, the tool that I built, basically what it does is it takes a Excel spreadsheet with performance review data. It then analyzes that data and looks at the ratings. It looks at the comments the manager has put in, the comments that the individual has put in, and it then analyzes the quality of the review. So it tells you, and it has two indexes that says whether the manager reviews of high quality and the self reviews of high quality, and then it helps understand some of that and the impact of that quality on development and on other things. So what I wanted initially was to understand, first of all, okay, are these good quality reviews or not? Like I've got, you know, 1,500 reviews. I have no idea if they're good, if they're bad, if and that the quality I think determines then the conversations that the manager has, the goals that people set, how they continue
Hmm.
their development and all that type of stuff, and especially calibration sessions where you've got managers who are coming in to calibrate. I'm like, well, how can you calibrate if we don't even know the quality of the reviews? What are you calibrating on? So
Hmm.
that was the purpose. Initially, I thought, okay, I just want to know the quality of the reviews. Just let me think, okay, and I went back and forth determining, okay, what are the factors that determine the quality of a review? And then I just wanted it to show me on a sort of a distribution, high quality, low quality, and where they fit. Like, and that was it. So that was the starting point. But then as I started with that, I was like, cool, okay, well maybe I want to see by department, maybe I want to see by job level, maybe I want to see the quality by rating. And I started adding in layers of, okay, give me this lens or give me that one. And that's when it started kind of like growing out.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I shared it with my colleagues and I said, hey, is this useful? And when they first saw it, they were like, I don't understand what this is. And I'm like, okay, I know in my head that this is really useful, but I couldn't translate. And I thought, okay, it's not working because they're looking at it and they're confused and there's too much here. So I had to go back and say, okay, what would the end user want to see? I know what I want to see, but is it the same as what they want to see? And I had to refine until they saw something that they went, oh, wow, this is like exactly what we need. I'm like, okay, great, which is different to what I thought. So again, I know that, when you do product development, you do all that up front and you know what your users want and you verify that fit. But that kind of came later when I already had something. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting
Yeah,
process. Yeah.
absolutely. Deborah, you know what is impressive in your narration right now? That you are really like a product builder. So you built your first hypothesis. You thought, okay, what
Yeah.
should be there? You built a
Yeah.
prototype. You
Yeah.
came to your customers,
Yeah.
internal
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah.
You showed them. They were like, oh, and then you iterated,
Yeah.
and then you brought something that is really
Yeah.
brings value.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like it's basically yeah, you it's just like
Yeah.
internal entrepreneurship. I don't know. It's like internal product building.
Yeah.
It's just it feels like it's a new role in the
Yes,
company
I
even,
love
you
it.
know?
And I I was like, I'm trying, and I've been monitoring because like this is I would love to do this all the time, just building internal tools. I'm like, this is great. But it's
Yeah,
not my role. So I do this on the
yeah,
weekend and I do it at
yeah,
night. So it's fun, but it's not quite
yeah.
my job.
Absolutely. But it feels like it will be a skill in the future
I
that
think so.
everybody
I think
should
so.
have
Yeah.
in any roles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's what I'm noticing is if I need something now, okay, I've got, oh, I need a dashboard, I need this. I'm like, I can just build it. I can just do it in an hour. I'm just going to build the dashboard. And then I send them like, this is what I need. And they're like, that's that person's job. I'm like, okay, this is just something that I built like quickly, just take it or leave it. But this is what I want. Like, and I think
Uh,
that's amazing that you can have that ability yeah, is huge.
Absolutely, absolutely, totally. So we should not, our listeners, wait till we show something. So if you can share
Yeah.
what you've built,
Cool.
and then we will have many questions
Great.
around this
Let
also.
me show you a bit about, let me see. Okay. Cool. So this is the application, the dashboard. So there's a couple of different sections. I'm analyzing performance reviews. I'm analyzing manager capabilities, and I try to see if I can layer in engagement. That's not quite working yet, so I'm leaving that. I'm kind of like coming back to that later. But in terms of the first thing that I see, and this is all anonymized data I've extracted before I do the analysis. I anonymize it, so there isn't anything here that's sensitive or personal data. But first, what I can see is I've analyzed in this small batch 48 reviews. The manager quality is pretty low. The self-review quality is pretty low, but the alignment to the curve is pretty high. So the organization says, well, you need to have a certain number, it needs development at this. We meet that alignment, but the quality is pretty bad. So when you think about it, you're like, okay, so we've got the people in the right kind of like buckets, but it's not really great. And if I look at down here, I can see the people in the reviews in the needs development are really poor, but as the rating increases, the actual quality of the review also increases. And I'm like, that's interesting. So, and I'm not like, I don't know why, but I can ask questions. I'm like, okay, is it that managers put less effort into people who are not developing, or is it harder to actually give constructive feedback? Is it easier to write a really good review when someone is performing? So I think with this insight, our BBPs can go and ask those questions and find out. And then I can tailor the support. I can say, okay, well, this is what we need to support managers with here, doing this or doing that. But until we analyze the quality, I couldn't know that this was, could be a case. The other thing I've got, and there's a couple of different, so I've looked at, okay, what does the self versus manager ratings, how many people are overestimating, how many underestimating, just to see how aligned managers and individuals are. I took a stab at looking at skills, and I'm like, okay, so how are people talking about skills in their reviews, and what is this telling me? So I say, okay, people are talking about impactful feedback as a skill. Is it demonstrated? Is it high performers or low performers that are talking about this skill? And then that also gives me an idea of, okay, where should we target our efforts? What are some trends in terms of skills? I can say, okay, what are the high performers? What are the top skills for high performers, or what are those for low performers? So it's really, before we just had a spreadsheet. This was impossible to to get this data. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
now it's, and then with manager capabilities in the performance review, we ask managers to self-assess on a certain set of capabilities, and we ask their managers to assess. So I also wanted to see, okay, so how's that looking at how are managers and their direct reports aligned? And here it's like, okay, they're pretty close. Is that what we're seeing in reality? Like, is that what, are the outcomes of these managers reflecting this? And I went sort of crazy building, okay, for this particular capability, show me the breakdown, because these are the elements of that capability, how the manager rates themselves, how the manager of the manager, how the person rates themselves, what's the difference? And we can really start digging in and understanding, okay, so where do we need to have conversations? Where do we need to focus our work? Where do we need to, just focus our efforts? And then the other thing, let me see, I've got that right. So I've got all sorts of different breakdowns of job by job level, by different capabilities. Um, yeah, there's a lot there. So I did go and sort of overboard, and it is quite overwhelming for some of them. They're like, oh, there's so much in here, I don't know where to start. But there's a lot depending on the angle that you're coming at it from, the
Mhm,
data is
mhm.
there, and which is, yeah,
Yeah, this
I think it's pretty cool.
yeah, it's critical. It's extremely impressive for me. You know, I observed as a manager
Yeah.
performance reviews. Yeah, that was like yeah, just uncomparable.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I think that the problem that we have is people don't see the value. Well, I do this, I fill in the form. Why do I do this? Why do we spend so much time? And unless you can translate that into, well, this is a data, and this is what it means. This is what it could potentially mean for your team's performance. This is how you can support your team. And I think that's the link that goes, oh, okay. So if I spend more time on it, the outcome, it may actually improve certain outcomes, and we can see that now.
And
Yeah,
I am impressed that Workday or any other tools they do not provide it because
I
it's
know.
so essential.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing with those huge, enterprise systems. There's just so much in there. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's difficult to customize. You need a whole teams to do that work. And maybe we could have, if we would have got consultants in and we would have built this, it would have taken I don't know how long. And I'm like, well, I can just probably do something myself in the meantime. And
Absolutely.
like, okay, well, we can, yeah. I have to say though, the difficult part and the challenge that I have right now is I have showed it to my IT team. I've asked them, okay, I want to bring this internal now. Like, how do I grab this? Because I did obviously get questions of like, well, is that data going out to an external LLM, and is there sensitive data going out there? And I'm like, well, no, I'm anonymizing it locally and doing this kind of stuff, but it does the barrier now is if I want to extend it, I need to have the tool internally built or internally hosted so that
Yeah.
I can continue. And that's the challenge now, because it's a precedence that once a company starts that, then it's a slippery slope and everybody starts creating stuff.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Coming back to your builder journey, because we started with like you put everything in Lovable, you started building, you validated first version with your colleagues. And what next? I know that you used many different tools, and I
Yep.
think for listeners would be amazing to hear your journey with another tools, why
Yep.
you selected them, how they helped you, and your advice for the
Yeah.
future similar
Yeah.
builders, what to
Yeah.
avoid and what to double down on.
Yes. Good question. So I think the first thing that I was thinking is, okay, I've built this on Lovable. The good thing is I can share a link and people can see it, but they can see I did it on Lovable. And that kind of like, for me, a little bit was like, I don't know if I want the Lovable badge everywhere. I want this to be me. So it's a little bit, selfish thinking there. But I thought, okay, if I continue on Lovable, does that mean that Lovable owns it, that I can only ever host it on Lovable? Like that, I don't know. So I did some research and thought, okay, it looks like if I want a backup of it, I need to download it. And then I went into the whole GitHub and I'm like, oh, what's that? So I actually, as I was building, I was teaching myself these tools with ChatGPT and asking them, okay, what does GitHub do? And how do I use that? And it was giving me the instructions. So I was doing it. So I grabbed I linked my Lovable app to GitHub. I downloaded the code and then I thought, okay, now what do I do? And then I can't remember how I read some forums on Reddit or something about Claude Code, and I'm like, okay. So then I thought, how do I use it? I found VS Code. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And I do have a background. A long time ago, I worked on a help desk and we used DOS, program. So I was familiar with terminal and stuff like that. So it wasn't completely new. It probably tells my age that I supported DOS applications, but we won't go there. But then I thought, okay, I started testing Claude Code in VS Code, and it was actually quite easy. It was just a conversation back and forth. And I'm like, okay, so now I can work on my app locally. This is great. And then I got to the point where I'm like, okay, but how do I share it now? And that's when I again do some research, and I thought, okay, well, there's applications that can help you host it and share it. So I used Vercel. I'm like, okay, let me just try this, and it was quite simple to get it out there. And then I started looking at, okay, now I need to understand a bit more of what my code is doing and the database. And then I had to get more technical and really
Mhm.
get into okay, is it secure? How do people log in? And again, I taught myself all that with ChatGPT and Claude and asking it to teach me as we were going. So there is a blind spot that I don't know if the quality of the code is great. I'm like, I don't know, but it works. People can access it. It does what it needs to do. I kind of understand the code. What I did also build is I built a game to teach me about my app. So the game actually takes me through the different parts of my app and how the data flows and how it's all built in a gamified way, which it gives me points and quiz and stuff like that. So I use that to learn more about my own app and the architecture and the database and everything about it. So I was like, oh, this is great. So again, with Claude Code, I asked it to build a game to teach me about my app. I'm like, it was mind blowing to me. I'm like, this is mind blowing.
It's totally mind blowing. But can you share also the game? Because
Yeah.
then I was reading the notes you put for the podcast preparation. And I was like, the game to teach me. This is something I have never heard before.
Let me show you. I'll show you my screen now. It might be a little bit overwhelming as well. But so this is the game. There's different levels. The aim of it is to get to an architect. So I start as an operator, engineer, architect. It has a tutorial here that shows me. But if I go, these are the different steps that my app actually goes through. It uploads data, it cleans it, it stores it. But in here, the game actually explains that process to me. And if I just go here, so it has these challenges, and through the challenges, I learn about my app, and it gives me points, and I can see here the level and the points. But I wanted something that is not too far removed from the actual app, because I need that transfer of knowledge back, but in a fun way, in a way that I'm like, okay, this is actually, it shows me, and it shows me the process, and I can understand. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And also, as a learning professional, I'm like, this is just amazing that I can create a learning asset to teach someone about something. And I created this in like a couple of hours on a Saturday afternoon. I'm like, this blows my mind. Just what you can do just by being creative it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you have nothing basically to stop you. You have an idea, you just go. And
Yeah.
I have never seen like basically building the tool to teach you. And I assume that is coming from your professional background, because
And
I would,
a little bit is because I do understand. When I built the game, I said, okay, use learning design principles, think about this, think about how people learn, repetition and transfer of knowledge. So I think that does help. And that's why I said vibe coding, I think is this superpower, because I've got a pretty decent base of knowledge on a lot of things, but with vibe coding, I can superpower that and create things that just were not possible, like, ever, unless I paid a lot of money and had a team of developers and a whole bunch of things. So, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Speaking about your tool, is it right now any adoption inside the company, or it's more like a prototype for you?
Good question. So I think I'm at that stage now. I am talking to the R&D team to say, okay, what would it take to bring this in-house? Is it possible? What would we need? So I'm in those talks right now.
Yeah. Good growth. Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's very typical for vibe coding tools. Then somebody is building a prototype,
Yeah.
and then R&D or some IT team
Yeah.
helping to enable company-wide.
Yeah.
Quality of code, yeah, definitely a question mark. Difficult to tell as a vibe coder. I have no understanding,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did get someone from R&D. He looked at it and he asked, "Did you do this by yourself or did you get help?" I'm like, "No, it was me." And a vibe coding tool was like, "Wow." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I take that as a compliment. I'll take that."
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so let's maybe discuss a little bit your advice for people who are starting with vibe coding. Where to start? Should they follow your route or maybe adjust something?
Yeah, I
Also
mean,
thinking about internal tools or hobby projects
yeah.
also.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really good question, because if I think back, like, how did I start? And I started first building sort of GPTs with ChatGPT. I built something like that. Then I went to Claude and I built artifacts, and I kind of like started building up. And then I thought, okay, I need something more. And I looked at Lovable and I thought, okay, this is it. So that was kind of like my route over the last year. I think now the tools are so accessible that you probably don't need that pathway and you can jump straight into something like Lovable, Replit, sort of those tools. I do strongly advocate for using something like ChatGPT or something as a sparring partner, as a prep, as organizing your thoughts before you put it into a tool, because I do consume a lot of tokens and things like that. So you can spend a lot of money very quickly if you're not sort of like structured and organized from the beginning. So the more you can structure it up front, then the less, I guess, the more efficient you can make the building process.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Totally. And did you have any resistance trying more professional tools like VS Code or GitHub?
Resistance, you mean from myself or?
So from the perspective, like sometimes these tools are positioned for
Yeah.
professional developers.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have noticed that when I show that tool, if someone says, "Oh, how did you build it?" and I show that, "Ooh, that looks scary." And I think there's a perception, but I really enjoy using it. But I think it is maybe my background, and that I have used, you know, back in high school, like I said, I learned DOS and I learned, command line. So I'm not totally new to it. So there was a familiarity there that I thought, okay, I've seen this a long time ago. It's not that scary, but there's a lot that I don't know. Like I go to forums and I read and I'm like, it does that. Oh, I like, my knowledge is like this little, like, but I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, hopefully I'll keep learning as I keep using it. And yeah, but it can seem scary, but until you try, I think once you try it, it's not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think we are almost at the end of our conversation. And
Great.
before we close it, how the listeners can be helpful to you? Like how we can help you with your tool? Tell us.
Nice, a great question. I mean, I've got a Substack blog that I'm starting to write, and I mean, I think what's helpful is if people want to understand more, if you drop me a line, and then that helps me think, oh, okay, maybe I need to explain and reflect on how I did this, and starting that conversation. So I'm happy. Yeah, if you want to know more, I can write more. Um, yeah, I do have a side project where with a colleague, with a close friend, we're starting to run hackathons for people in the learning space. So I've got a site as well, Project Breakthrough. It's free, it's non-profit. We're not doing it for a profit. We just thought, let's get people together who are curious to learn, and let's see if we can learn together. So there's a couple of things that we're doing just to create more community and to connect people. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I will be happy to share the links to your hackathons or
Great.
to your initiative.
Cool.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming and speaking.
Excellent.
And I'm very grateful. Such an interesting use case and product and your journey. And keep vibe coding, keep going. I think
I
this
love
is,
it.
we are just unstoppable right now.
Thank you, Lena, and thank you also for you. I love that you've put this podcast together. That you're also paving the way. It's just so great to see other people who are passionate about it, who are giving exposure. And yeah, I feel like, oh, there's other people, my people. So thank you for doing that as well.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Deborah. See you.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.